Hey guys, it's Aisha. So today I'm gonna be doing my first story time video, and this story is gonna be about the time my crazy neighbor called the police on my siblings and I and some of our other neighborhood friends. This happened around the time when we were in primary school, and if you don't know, primary school is the same as elementary school. So we were all 11 years old or younger. No, actually, I think we were younger than 11 years old, but I can't really remember my age because my siblings are all younger than I am. So maybe 10, 9, around those ages. I have to give a background on the story before I explain the day when the police was called and what happened. So I grew up in a community like until I basically was finished with primary school. So primary school goes up to to grade 6. I grew up in Jamaica, and this story took place in Jamaica. So basically, I had a neighbor, and the way our street was set up, it's like in order to get to my house, I had to pass this neighbor's house because our house was kind of on a little street at a dead end. So the neighbor, she was an older woman, and she lived with her husband, or I don't know if they were really married or whatever, but basically, yeah, it was an older woman, like older than my parents, not old, but not young. Okay, I don't know if I'm doing a good job at explaining this because I'm really bad at explaining. I'm really bad at explaining. Anyways, growing up there have always been stories about her, how she killed her first husband and like all types of stories. So like the way we grew up basically in Jamaica is like if you see an older person on the street, like an elder, you greet them, like you say good evening, good morning, good afternoon, or whatever, and you call everyone Miss or Mr. So this lady, we used to call her Miss Mavis. No, we used to call her Miss Mavis. So Miss Mavis, whenever she would leave her house, she would have those huge umbrellas that we call them like house and land umbrellas. They're so huge, and she would literally, even during sunshine, when there is no rain in the hot, like she would open the big umbrella when she left her house, and she wouldn't like put it over her head. She would turn it to the side to kind of block her face so that no one could really talk to her. But I don't know, we're really young, so I feel like our life goal was basically to try to get this lady to talk to us. Like in terms of, we would see her and we would say good evening, Miss Mavis. She wouldn't answer. Okay, good morning, Miss Mavis. She wouldn't answer. That's whenever we did see her, and like I don't think it was in a way to make trouble. It was, yeah, so I don't think we did it to really like cause any problems. It was just like a goal of ours for her to actually just say good evening to us. Like we were all children, young, like 9 years old, maybe 8. This was happening from we were younger. So there are several incidents that happened with this lady, like so many, but this one was probably the worst. So it was yeah, so basically that's the story. Don't call to her, whatever, she won't answer you. So this day was a Saturday, and our mom went to the supermarket and the market to do groceries and whatever. So we were all home alone. Like it was actually, we weren't home alone. Like we lived with our great grandmother at the time, so she was there, but she's really older. So she was like 70 something. So she was just always in the house. And then I think that weekend our grandfather was there. Like, he didn't live with us, but he came to visit that weekend. So basically our mom went to the market, whatever, and we have a family friend. Like if for people who watch all the videos on my channel, if you see Candace, like one of my cousins that is in some of my vlogs and my whisper challenge video, her brother, because we all grew up together when we were really younger, so her brother, he told us previously that that one day he saw her and he called to her. He was like, good evening, Miss Mavis, and he told us that she answered. So we were so surprised. We're like, okay, we're gonna try next time we see her. Like, we're gonna see if she will actually say good evening to us. I think that morning we went, or we were going to, it was a Saturday, so I think we were going to the shop, or we were riding our bicycles or something, because on week, like, we lived in a community, so on the weekend, on Saturdays, we'd ride our bicycles sometimes, all of us. And I grew up around a lot of people because I have 5 siblings. Like, we didn't all live together, but I have 5 siblings, and then I have cousins. So I think that day, like, Candace and her brother, I don't know if Candace was there, but her brother, sometimes our neighbors would be around. So I remember that day, one of my cousins was there, and I think my sister and all of them were there. But one of my sister and my little brother, they were really so young, so they really had nothing to do with what happened. So basically, we saw her in the morning, and she was ahead of us on the road. So I don't remember. It wasn't me. You see, the thing is, I'm so scared of getting into trouble. Like, I'm kind of the hype man behind the scene. I don't do the actual work, but I'm just there. So one of them were like, "Good evening." No, it was morning. They're like, "Good morning, Miss Mavis." She was so far ahead, we weren't even sure if she heard us. So she just had her umbrella and she continued walking. So, um, we left her alone. We went home after we were finished, and then I think we saw her again. We saw her later in the day. So I think in the afternoon we were all riding our bicycles or whatever, and we heard her outside. Like, we knew she was in her yard, but her yard was fenced around, but the fence was like zinc, so it wasn't see-through. It wasn't a see-through fence. It was a tall zinc fence, but it had holes in it. So I don't remember who, my cousin was there, and she is the so my cousin, we were all peeping through the window, and I don't remember who was like, "Good evening, Miss Mavis." No answer. I think, "Good evening, Miss Mavis," again. No answer. So after no answer, we stopped, and then she started cursing at us. Like, she started, she was talking in patois, so, which is the Jamaican dialect. She was talking in patois and whatever, and she was just cursing at us and talking all type of. I don't remember everything she said, but she would always just curse, right? And the thing with this lady is that, like, there is a thing in the community where no one liked her. Like, she didn't just talk to kids, like, no one. She didn't talk to the adults or anyone. If we're playing, like, in front of her house, there was a empty space where like the kids or even people, other older people, would go and play ball and like sighting and stuff like that. And if your ball ever fell onto her land, she wouldn't get it back. If she saw it, like, she would take the ball and throw it away, because she's like, you're not paying tax on her land. So she was that. Like, I remember when I was so young. Like, I remember when I was so young. I remember one day, the older kids, like, they were playing they were playing some ball game or whatever, and the ball went over to her house, and she literally took the ball, and like, there is a whole thing for the whole day. So that's just the atmosphere. Like, no one likes this lady. Or it wasn't even that you didn't like her. We were just like curious, like, to know what was her issue. Really, we were really curious, because no one did anything to her. Like, at least where we lived, no one did anything to her. So anyways, she started cursing at us, whatever she's cursing. So she goes onto her veranda, and like, you can know, because you could just hear the sound, because at this point we're at our house, but we can hear the noise from ahead. So she goes onto her veranda and she starts reading her Bible out loud, and she's just reading it out loud. And then at this point now, my cousin is just cursing at her. Like, she's staying at my house. Like, we can't see her and she can't see us, because there's her fence and whatever, but it's loud enough where we can both hear each other. So my cousin starts cursing at her. I don't remember what she was saying, but yeah, my cousin was the hothead of the whole thing. So we also had a neighbor who lived. So Miss Mavis lived on the right, and then we had another neighbor that lived on the left. But even though Miss Mavis lived on the right, it wasn't right beside our house. It was like a little ahead of our house. So this neighbor, he was a guy. He's like the same age or like a year older than us. He was there cursing with her too. He took a bottle from his yard and he threw it over into her yard. Or yeah, he threw it over into her yard, and like, you could hear it break. So at this point, they're still arguing. So she's like, she's gonna call the police and whatever. No, we stopped arguing with her and everything, and then my mom came home from the supermarket with the groceries and everything. So we were helping her to unpack the groceries. And then the next thing I know, there's sirens, loud sirens, and we could hear it getting closer and closer into our street, like into the community. And we couldn't believe that she actually called the police because I don't know, I was young, but I think I had a lot of sense then because I actually remember, like, I remember everything of that story. So, anyways, sounds was getting louder. At this point, I don't think my mom even knew what happened because by the time she got home, everything was over, And like my siblings and I, aren't really the type to argue or anything. I hate trouble so much. I've never gotten a detention, never gotten a suspension. So I was terrified. I was terrified. And I ran under the kitchen table to hide. And I think my siblings or whoever, the older ones, the younger ones didn't even know what was going on. The ones that were like around the same age and my cousin or whatever, they ran under the bed. My cousin, her house, because she didn't live with me, but most of the times she was by my house. There was a gate at the back of our yard where you could enter another street. So when she heard the police, she started running to climb. She didn't even stop to open the gate because I don't think it was a gate that could be opened easily because we didn't really use it ever. She was climbing the gate to escape, and then our neighbor that threw the bottle over her house ran into his house and was like, "Oh, daddy, 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 it's not me, daddy, daddy, whatever." So he ran, so he escaped it, the whole thing, and we couldn't snitch on him. So when I'm under the table, the police car, actually the jeep, it went to her house, and then she directed the jeep to our house. Yeah, so after she actually came into, I think that's the first time she ever came to our yard. Like I didn't even expect her to come into our yard. So she walks up with the jeep, whatever, and I guess my mom went outside to see like what was the issue. So my mom went outside. I'm under the table. I'm like not coming out. I'm like, mm-mm, mm-mm. So she comes back into the house and she's like, "You guys have to go outside. You guys have to go talk to the police." And I was bawling. I was like, "No, mom, just please, can I just hide under the table? And I don't want to go." And she's like, "No, you have to go. You have to go." But the thing is, when you're young, I wasn't thinking because my mom didn't look sad or like serious or anything. I think they were kind of laughing at us, but we took it so serious. Like I thought I was going to jail, so I had to leave the table or whatever. And at this point, I'm like, grandfather was here. He must have seen what happened. Like we didn't do anything really. And in Jamaica, police, they don't come that early. Like even to a real crime scene, I think they take a while. So for them to actually come because of a call about children and actually have their sirens on, I think she Miss Mavis lied to the police and made them come faster. Because if she actually told them, "Oh, like it was just some children or whatever," they wouldn't have come. They wouldn't have. That's just Jamaica. In Canada, they probably would have came, but in Jamaica, like I doubt they would have come. And so, anyways, we go outside. We go outside, and we're all crying and bawling or whatever. All the older ones had to go outside. The younger ones were there too, but they didn't care. So at this point now, the police, they're still in the vehicle or whatever. I think they had their speaker. Like they put on a scene. They had their speaker thing. They had their microphone thingy, and basically they go around. They asked us each to tell them our name. So we told them our name, and they pretended that they were. I'm saying they're pretending. They did pretend that they were actually writing our name. And like when they asked our name and I hesitated, my mom just told them our name. So I think they actually made a deal when she went outside or something. Because when I didn't want to tell them my name, she told them her name. So anyways, now as we're telling them our name, Miss Mavis is like, she is the ringleader. To my cousin. She's pointing to my cousin. The ringleader means that she was the one like leading everything. She was arguing the most. Like the rest of us were just there following whatever. So my cousin, she's so scared of the police, so she's like trembling because I don't know, she didn't get the chance to escape over the gate in the backyard. So at this point she's there and she was just like this, and she was just trembling and like backing up like back. I swear, guys, this story is so true. You can ask my mother, you can ask anyone. My cousin's backing up. She's like, please, please, please don't. And my cousin, she's the same exact age as me. Like, she's just a couple years older. She's just a couple months older. And then they took our names and whatever, and they gave us a warning. They're like, if they get another complaint about us, we're gonna go to famatory school. And famatory school, I guess, is basically like a jail for children. It's like maybe a juvenile detention center, but that's what they call it there. And we just bawled or whatever. Then Miss Mavis went back to her house and it was over. But I think it all was a lie. I don't know. I actually have to go ask my mother. I'm gonna call her right after I make this video, because up until this day I'm 21 years old and I don't even know what really happened. I don't. So yeah, that was a story. I have other stories with her. There are other days when she like came out with us with a machete, like a cutlass, to, I don't know if she was gonna chop us up or whatever. There's a lot of stories with that lady while I was living there, because I lived there until I was about 12 or something. So yeah, that's my story time. If you're not subscribed to me, just remember to hit the button below, and don't forget to thumbs up this video if you liked it, and if you'd like to see more, just let me know. My Instagram is Aisha Tay, and my Facebook page is also Aisha Tay. You can follow me on Snapchat. It's at Empress Tay, and my Snapchat is just like a mini vlog sometimes, so I guess you get to know me more if you follow me on Snapchat. Thanks for watching.